Hi everybody online. Hey everybody who's here. We're in multiple places, so if you hear me talking to Instagram, that's because there's people watching on Instagram too. They're all just as excited as you are to hear about this stuff. I've been hyping them up online for a couple of weeks, talking about it and preparing my presentation. My name's Vanessa. I'm a self-proclaimed microbe witch. That just means that I take microbes and I use them like magic to heal all my friends and family. It's very powerful stuff. We're going to go through 8 microbes today. 8 of them. They come from 8 different foods that all y'all can make at home. It's not hard. It takes a matter of minutes, and you can have powerful, powerful food that heals your family. Are you guys excited? Yeah. You want to get pickled today? Yeah. I'm going to pickle you all. So there's been some really interesting studies recently on the microbiome. It's really the cutting edge. Like, we didn't know anything. We didn't know. It's inside of us. We had no clue what was going on. Well, there's a couple called the Sonnenbergs. They are at Stanford University. They did an amazing study where they took 2 groups of people for 10 weeks. They gave one group 5 microbial foods a day. So we're talking kombucha, yogurt, kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir, any of those microbes, they could have 5 a day. They compared them to people that they increased the fiber content on. They thought, oh, fiber is going to increase their microbiome, right? That's what we all think. It wasn't the case. At the end of this 10-week study, the people that were on the fermented foods had 19 inflammatory markers reduced. The people with the increased fiber had almost no change to their gut microbial. Wild study. Says so much about how important it is to have these microbes in our diet for reducing inflammation. You can find this study here. I have the slides available for you guys so you can go and read the study and check it out. So what we're going to go over today is 8 foods, 8 of them. That's not a ton. That gives you lots of options of things to add to your diet to really strengthen your microbiome. The key microbes that are in them. So we want to understand not just that the food's going to help us, but why the food's going to help us. The actual mechanism of action, right? And then how to utilize them. How to pick which microbes are going to help to heal your body. First thing I want to do is introduce you guys to my friend. Oh, stop that. Stop that. Hold on. Oh my gosh. Okay. Nope, too far. Oh, my pictures aren't working. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to tell you about my friend Misha. My friend Misha lives in Michigan. She reached out to me on Instagram. We are really good friends now. We've been working together for about 6 years. What I didn't know about Misha is she was bedridden. When she was reaching out to me, she could not get out of bed. She was stuck in her bed all the time. She would get up one day, she'd be back in bed the next day. She had UC, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, irritable bowel disease. She had this one, gastroparesis. She threw up after every meal. She could not get out of bed. Her stomach was frozen. Misha and I started talking. She said, you know, a little bit about this, a little bit about that. You know, I'm stuck at home, blah, blah, blah. Eventually, I got her whole story out of her, and I was like, look, friend, you are really sick. You are so sick. Are you ready to change your life? And she said, yeah, you know what, I am. I'm ready. Let's do it. And I said, you're going to have to make stuff. Are you ready to make stuff? And she said, yes, let's do it. So I'm going to show you guys Misha at the end and how much better she's doing. It's pretty miraculous. I don't know why my pictures aren't working, but I'll pull it up on the thing if I need to. The very first thing, the most accessible fermented food you guys can all make at home. It is so easy. Fermented veggies. So fermented veggies, we're talking sauerkraut. You could do literally any veggie in your house. It does not have to be cabbage. You can do tomatoes, you can do peppers, you can ferment ketchup. All of those things are considered a vegetable ferment. I'm going to pass this around. You guys have cups in front of you. If you want to taste it, you're welcome to taste it and just pass it through. The key microbe that's in sauerkraut and all fermented veggies is Lactobacillus plantarum. Lactobacillus plantarum is a transient microbe, so it doesn't stay in your gut. It grabs onto bad microbes and it escorts it through your body. So it does not stick around and it takes the bad stuff with it. You want to take this one if you have acute stomach issues. So if you have food poisoning, pancreatitis, gallbladder infections, if you have any sort of sickness that's creeping up on you, right? This is the one to go to first. When you ferment cabbage, it takes the vitamins and nutrients in that cabbage or vegetable and it multiplies them by 10 and it makes them so your body can actually absorb them because it is pre-digested. So this really cuts out the middleman. You guys are taking a food and taking it straight to the head. All those nutrients are going all the way through your body and helping to heal and seal the gut. They're helping with so many amazing things. So here, you guys are going to notice there's a lot of repetition because all of these foods help with all of these things. You don't have to make just one. You can make all of them, but I want you to realize that one of them can do a lot. So if that's all you have, the wherewithal to do right now is to make one thing, that can do a ton. Okay, guys? So just remember that. So you're going to see a lot: constipation, diarrhea, IBS, IBD, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis. This is going to carry through. Almost all of these cultured foods are helped by those things, okay? It improves eczema and psoriasis and eczema and acne. You're going to look at colds, respiratory. Since we started taking cultured veggies, we do not get sick nearly the way we used to. We might get a little cold, but it does not stick around like it used to, right? It is quick, fast, and it's gone. You see all the nutrients that are added. These are multiplied by 10. So when you have a cabbage, 1 cup of cabbage has like 60 milligrams of vitamin C. When you ferment it, it turns into 600 milligrams of vitamin C. So we are multiplying the nutrients in our food tenfold and preserving it so it's shelf stable and good in the refrigerator for up to a year in most cases. So this is how people used to survive back in the day, right? They grow their food all year long. They would salt it. They'd put it in jars and they'd bury it in the ground, or they'd put it in their cold cellar or wherever. This was their way of getting vitamins and nutrients through the winter. This is how you stretch that healthy harvest, right? So let's see, go through here. The next one that we're gonna do is kombucha. Kombucha and sauerkraut are very similar. They have a similar profile, but you're going to get a lot more acetic acid in the kombucha. Acetic acid is really great for your digestion. So you know how they say, oh, drink some apple cider vinegar before you eat to improve your digestion. Kombucha does the same thing. This is something that you can cultivate at home. You can make it as acidic or less acidic as you like. It's very easy to tailor your microbial profile using kombucha. In kombucha, what type of tea you use changes the microbial profile. So if you're using a green tea, you're going to get a different microbe than if you're using a black tea, if you're using an oolong tea or a white tea. Kombucha is only made using Camellia sinensis, which is the tea plant that they use to make all these different types of tea. It's just a different process of how they preserve that tea. All the tannins in the black tea make it a better host for the casei and the debuchy. The lighter teas have more space for the L. plantarum. They prefer a less tannin-rich environment. So this is that same thing that we had in the sauerkraut, right? The plantarum. We're looking for this in all foods. If we can get plantarum at least a couple times a week, that's fantastic. And at least 5 of these foods have it. So there's plenty of options here, right? Oh, I skipped it. Saccharomyces cerevisiae. This is a hard one. This is what you're going to get in kombucha. These are the beneficial yeasts that are not killed off by antibiotic. So if you are sick, right, you're taking an antibiotic because you're so sick you can't clear it by yourself, it is very beneficial to drink kombucha or something that has these Saccharomyces yeast strains in it because they are not affected by antibiotic. So they're going to help hold open the space in your gut so that bad candida doesn't take over. When you kill off all the bad stuff, then the things that are left, like the candida albicans, can take over, right? Those fill in the gaps when you clean out the other stuff. This will hold a space. This is a fantastic one. It helps with SIBO. I don't know if you guys know what SIBO is. I see some no heads, I see some yes heads. So SIBO is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. That's when in your small intestines you get the nasty bugs taking over. Usually it happens after antibiotics, right? You kill off all the good stuff, there's no room left, and the bad stuff just goes nuts. All right, so SIBO, you want to kill that, you want to clear that out, but you have to repopulate your gut. So all of these natural doctors that are like, take, oregano oil, or take this, or take that, and kill, and they want you to take just a probiotic and a pill, it's not going to fix this issue. Oftentimes we have low stomach acid, so the probiotics are not opening in the right part of our gut. They'll open up in a wrong location and cause a litany of issues. Using a food, these have a safety bubble around them. So as they go through your system, they are protected. They are going to make it to the area that they populate, and they're going to have a home there. It's very, very cool, right? This is my most accessible and most delicious, probably the fastest, easiest way to get bifidobacteria. Now, bifidobacteria is the youth bacteria. I know. I made it yesterday so that I didn't explode it everywhere. I'm going to pass this around. This is coconut water and honey is what I use for the base for this. The beautiful thing about using coconut water for the Kefir soda is it adds a whole bunch of potassium to it. So it's like your own electrolyte drink, right? This one really helps to increase your gut diversity. This also has the Saccharomyces in it. So if you don't like sour stuff, if you can't handle the sipping kombucha, this is the one for you. Yes?
And something besides coconut water?
Yes, any juice. So I use the coconut water for a base for this, just so it has a very neutral flavor. And then I take that, when you brew this, it's very easy. You're just using previous batch to make your next batch. So I use a little bit of that coconut base, and then I add juice, and you do 50% juice, 50% water. You can use any kind of juice. So I've done peach juice, I've done plum, I've done grape, I've done root beer. People who were here last meeting, I brought root beer and everybody lost it. It was so delicious. They were like, oh, it's so good. I've done ginger beer. I've done just a variety of things. You can absolutely, sky's the limit, be completely creative with it. If you have a juice, if you have a tea even, you can ferment teas. It's so versatile and powerful. Getting that bifidobacteria that you get from your mom when you are born vaginally or through breastfeeding. So if you weren't born vaginally and you haven't breastfed and you've ever had antibiotics, you probably don't have any left. So this is your introduction back to bifido. It's very, very good for any sort of allergies. So if you have food allergies, if you have intolerances, now you guys have to remember, I am not a doctor, I am just a nerd. Right? I love to research. I'm not giving medical advice. I'm just telling you how you can heal yourselves. Okay? So saying what these things can do is just giving you knowledge and empowering you to be able to utilize them out and about in the real world. Saccharomyces boulardii is guaranteed in this particular one. So when you ferment things in a different fashion, you're going to get different microbes. Saccharomyces boulardii is definitely in this one because it's specifically cultured to have it. It only survives in low acid situations, so Saccharomyces boulardii doesn't like being in really, really sour kombucha. It's going to be, if you ferment a kombucha for 2 weeks and it's not crazy sour, you can have some Saccharomyces boulardii in there. If you ferment a kombucha for a month, you're going to have mostly the lactobacillus strains in there. It won't have as much of the Saccharomyces. Yes?
How important to keep it in a brown bottle?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Nope, it's not important. Yeah, you just has to be a tight bottle. So something with a swing top or an old kombucha bottle, something that's going to really hold the pressure. That's the important thing. So with this, obviously C. diff, IBS, IBD, same stuff, anti-inflammatory, salmonella, E. coli, right? I have helped my friend clear C. diff using Saccharomyces boulardii. She went to the hospital. She was in the hospital for 2 weeks. They sent her home with diarrhea still. She was still had like, what the heck? So I did a little research. I found out the kombucha and this Kefir soda could help her, and I got her the kombucha. She cleared her C. diff It took 2 weeks. She's cleared C. diff drinking kombucha 3 times a day. So that's pretty bonkers. And you guys keep that in mind because you never know. You're going to know somebody who has an issue like this come up. It can really be a lifesaver. So if someone's got food poisoning, something like that, this would also be a good one. Same with the sauerkraut, same with the kombucha. Diarrhea, throwing up, all of those things. If you can get this into them, that helps clear it out. This also has the planetarium in it. Now I want to talk to you guys about natto. Have you ever heard of natto?
Yes. Love it.
Natto's kind of an interesting one. So this is very popular in Japan. This is what they eat for breakfast. It's a fermented soybean, and it has these cool surfactants. Let's see, where's it at? Surfactant. Where's it at? I can't find it. Well, there's on here somewhere. There it is. This has these surfactants, and it makes it really gooey and slimy. And it's kind of weird looking, and if you have sensory issues, you may or may not like it. But generally, it's eaten with rice. You want to try? Here, you guys pass that around. Generally, they eat it with rice for breakfast. My friend who introduced me to this is from Japan. She moved to the U.S., and within a year, she got breast cancer. Crazy. So she started working with Japanese and American doctors. The Japanese doctors recommend everyone who has cancer take natto. Every single one of them. The reason, I think, is because of the biofilm prevention, and it breaks down biofilms. And also, they use this in the spike protein detox protocol. If anyone's heard of that, they use that with bromelain and curcumin, and then natto kinase, which is derived from natto. So you can do the spike protein detox using whole foods. You don't have to order any sort of supplements. If you have any clotting or weird stuff going on in your blood after taking or being around things that are a little different from the last couple of years, keep this one in mind. It's a very, very helpful one. It's really great producing B vitamins, C. diff, again, and salmonella. Very, very powerful, fights infections. This one I absolutely love for anybody who has high blood pressure. Right? It helps to thin out the blood if you're not already on a blood thinner, obviously. Have you guys heard of milk kefir? I'm sure you have. Milk kefir is my favorite. This is like my go-to to start anybody who's new who can do dairy, okay? Some people can't do dairy, but most of the people that I know who can't do dairy can do kefir. My best friend thought she was allergic to dairy. She is not allergic to dairy. She just doesn't have the enzymes to digest it. Sorry, I got my finger. I gotta lick my hand. Sorry, guys. Oh, that's real classy. Okay. This is my multivitamin, right? You see this here? We've got B1, B2, B6, B9, B12, K2, tryptophan, calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, zinc, not to mention vitamin D and vitamin A. I didn't put those on there. Plus, it's protein packed. So I drink a quart of kefir for breakfast every morning. 40 grams of protein. That's what I have for breakfast every morning. Yes, I drink a quart every day. Not everybody's going to be there yet. You know, it might be something you work up to. But as a meal replacement, it's fantastic because it's pre-digested. So your body doesn't have to work to uptake those nutrients. You take this, you drink it, your body takes all of those vitamins and minerals directly into your system, right? You're not digesting the lactose, the kefir digested it for you. Isn't that cool? So I use this for anyone who obviously has dysbiosis in the stomach. This is like my number one go-to. Milk kefir has such a broad microbial profile, 30 to 50 strains, depending on where you're at in your household and what kind of grains you have. That is a lot of strains. That is covering so many bases. You're getting so many different microbes all in one place. So if you could only do one thing, milk kefir would be my one. Okay? It's super, super, super helpful. If you notice the microbial count in this, 100 million to 10 billion in a milliliter. That's a lot 1 milliliter, that's more microbes than you're getting in an entire container of store-bought probiotics for $30 or $50 or whatever you pay for that, right? Things that milk kefir helps with. Constipation, oh my gosh, it works so well for constipation, I cannot even tell you. My girlfriend was pregnant. Fun story. My girlfriend was pregnant last year. She has prediabetes, insulin sensitivity, of course. So they wanted her to do the glucose test. All the women who have had babies, you know, it's terrible. It's just pure sugar, right? It's absolutely awful. So she said, I'm not doing it. I'm going to do the finger prick, and we're going to test my blood. And I said, okay, drink this milk kefir. And of course, this friend is very forgetful. She's terrible. So she didn't do it every day, right? She's so forgetful. So she would take the milk kefir one day. She would do the blood test. Her blood sugar would be normal. And then the next day she would forget, and she wouldn't poop, and her blood sugar would be trash. And then the following day, she would take the milk kefir, she would poop, and her blood sugar would be completely normal. Eating the exact same things, and on and off. She did it 6 or 7 times, so that is quantifiable proof to me that it works. You would think that would be enough to get her to do it every day, but it's not. It's okay. We're not all there. We're not all there yet. But that works amazing. Now, my friend Misha, I told you about in the beginning, who had the ulcerative colitis and everything, she's doing the milk kefir. This has helped a ton for her.
What about adding fruits?
You can absolutely add fruits to it. Now, when you're adding fruits to anything, when it comes to fermented foods, all you're doing is adding polyphenols. And polyphenols are amazing for your gut. You need polyphenols to feed your Akkermansia, which is one of the most populated microbes in your gut. The Akkermansia lives in your gut mucus lining. When you feed Akkermansia polyphenols, it's happy, right? It keeps your mucus lining fluffy. It's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm fat and fluffy. I'm mucusy. When you don't feed it polyphenols, guess what it eats? It eats the mucus lining. It pokes holes in your gut. So you have to have polyphenols if you're going to heal your gut. You have to. You can go like carnivore or something briefly for some stuff. It can help with certain conditions, but you have to add polyphenols back in if you want to heal your gut. Just putting that out there for anyone who's thinking about going full carny to heal your gut. It's not going to heal your gut. This is the big baddie that I know a lot of you guys are here for, L. reuteri. I call this the big daddy of microbes. This is like the alpha dog of microbes, right? This is the big boss. L. reuteri was in our gut originally. It's supposed to be there, but it is very sensitive to antibiotics. So all of the indigenous populations, the animals, babies when they're first born, they'll all have that L. reuteri until they're exposed to antibiotics. Yeah. So what does this do in our body? Well, it creates oxytocin. So this is the happy microbe. So you can eat this and it gives you almost like a buzz. It gives you a little bit of a high, like you can feel the boost, especially when you've had those antibiotics before and you've been lacking in oxytocin production this whole time. Nobody knew that we're just missing. Like we can get some, but it's not going to be the same as what it would have been if we had the proper population in our gut. You'll get a buzz. It's pretty amazing. I'm going to pass this around so you guys can have a bite if you want. Yes, love.
Is there any evidence for the impact of vaccines on children?
There's loads of that, but it's off topic. We could talk about that later. This is actually, they have indicated L. reuteri to be helpful in cases of autism. So healing the gut in cases of autism, yeah, definitely. Yes. This specific microbe they have been discussing in healing the gut microbiome for kids that have autism. Yeah. So the other amazing thing about this particular microbe is it increases your testosterone in both men and women. And think about it this way. It's not like people are like, oh, I'm going to get buff. Like, I'm going to look like a man. You're not going to look like a man. All that means for women is you're going to have a lot more energy. You're going to be a lot more vivacious. You're going to have an increased sex drive, right? You're going to feel more, you're going to feel it. That is fantastic. Another amazing bonus, especially for our aging population, is it increases your skin thickness. and it increases your collagen production. So my friend Misha, she said that after doing this reuteri, she's been doing it for 6 months, right? She used to hit her hand on a table and her skin would split open. It does not happen anymore. Her skin does not split when she hits it. It has thickened. Now with this, it also helps with GERD, H. pylori, SIBO. Reuteri has such a powerful bacteriocin in it, which is the natural antibiotic made by the bacteria to stop extra bacteria from fighting for their space, right? It's their defense system, basically. Those bacteriocins are so powerful, they use them in fermenting places to clean their vats. That's how powerful it is. So we're talking about really cleaning out your insides here. It is so, so, so good for you. It can help with male infertility, increase libido, like we said. Allergies, asthma, my asthma's gone. My asthma's gone. I used to get sick. If I got a lung sickness, I would be down for a month. I'm telling you, I started this 6 months ago. I got a lung sickness a couple weeks back. It lasted 5 days. That has never happened to me in my entire life. 5 days of coughing, that was it. I was so shocked, I couldn't even believe it. This is the baby sister to reuteri, right? Mm-hmm.
What milk do you use for the reuteri?
Reuteri, I use ultra pasteurized, half and half. Now you use ultra pasteurized milk making these single cultures because you don't want any competition. So you can use the raw milk you buy from wherever, but you have to pasteurize it in order to make sure that there's no competing microbes in there to get these huge levels of colony forming units that we're going for, right? We're doing therapeutic levels of microbes. This is no joke. Yes.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Is there a specific brand that you use, or you use just good raw?
I just got the Horizon ultra pasteurized organic. It doesn't have to be anything super specific. Yes.
Pasteurizing meaning you boil it?
You heat it. Yeah. It's not boil. It's like 180 for 30 minutes or something. You don't like boil it. Yeah. It's not even to a simmer. Yeah. That's why I buy the previously ultra pasteurized stuff, because then you don't have to do that. Skips a whole step.
Where do you buy it from?
They sell all organic milk in the stores is ultra pasteurized. All of it.
Where do you
Yeah.
buy starters?
Yeah, it's okay. I have starter culture here. So what you guys are sampling, that can be used to make reuteri at home. So you don't have to buy starter culture. You can take starter culture home with you today. I have plenty to share with you guys. That's why we have little cups. Yes, so all of y'all are getting inoculated. You feel that? You feel the inoculation? Are you feeling good? Yes, good. We're going to talk about gasseri. Gasseri is like the female counterpart to reuteri. This is reuteri's little sister, right? This is the one that's going to really help with all female issues. So we're talking bacterial vaginosis, UTIs, yeast infections, any sort of downstairs problems. This is your girl, all right?
And this is a yogurt.
This is a cultured dairy. You can't call it a yogurt because yogurt has very specific microbes that make it a yogurt. So it's cultured dairy. Now, gasseri has 5 of those bacteriocins we were talking about. So those are the magical antibiotics made by the microbes. 5. So reuteri has 1, this one has 5. Together, they kick the crap out of SIBO. Okay? They destroy it. That is the end of days for SIBO. You eat these, you get lots of polyphenols, you will knock it out. Now, symptoms of SIBO, if you guys don't know, it's kind of like intolerance to vegetables, basically. So your microbes in your gut will make you burp, fart, nasty, like gas. They will give you bloating. You will have constipation or diarrhea. Any of those things are a symptom of SIBO, okay? So if you've ever been like, dang, I just ate this broccoli and I can't stop burping, you might have some bad bacteria going on in your gut. So this one again, we're going to help with all the big ones: bloating, IBS, constipation, gut dysbiosis, H. pylori, SIBO, SIFO, right? All the vaginal stuff, right? Girl parts, hormonal imbalances. We're talking fixing hormonal imbalances, right? Yeah? Menopause, PMS, really, really helpful. Inflammation, arthritis, histamine-related issues, mast cell stabilizing. I know I talked to someone earlier who has histamine problems. This is your girl right here. And then it helps with insulin resistance as well.
The one that's currently going around.
Yes, LG, yes. It's the one in the smallmouth jar. So you can technically mix both of the starters in one, but then you're creating microbial competition. So you're going to reduce the potency of both of those by mixing them. Does that make sense? Okay. All right.
So the little bear,
The one with the little mouth is gasseri right here. The open mouth is reuteri. Yep. When I make my yogurt, I have a big bus tub that I make it in with a sous vide machine. So I have mine in quart jars, and I can make like 16 of them at a time. So I do all the gasseri in smallmouth, and I do all the reuteri in wide mouth, so I know which one's which. Yeah, makes it easy. I'm making yogurt for a lot of people, so I have to make it on large portions. So this is the last one. Oh yeah, go ahead.
How long does it keep in the fridge?
It'll keep for up to 9 months in the fridge, but maximum potency, you're going to want to eat it within 2 weeks. How are we doing on time?
We're good. Keep going.
I'm like, I don't read those. I'm dyslexic. They're okay. They're okay. All right. This is the last one I'm going to talk about, and then we can do Question City, okay? This is the Yogurt Plus. This is what I've been using to replace sour cream in my house. I bought this one for the bifidobacteria. This is the same bacteria that is in the kefir soda. So you can get it in a vegan option if you don't want to do dairy, right? So we had our vegan options first, we got our dairy options second. You see how all of this relates, like they all have similar things. You can do one, you can do all, you don't have to do everything, but specific targeted microbes, like you're like, I need the testosterone, you're going to want to do the reuteri. If you need the female help and all that, you're going to do the gasseri. But outside of that, the other ones are just really general, amazing for health overall. Those two are the most specific. Now in this one actually populates the colon. So that can be really powerful for people that have colon health issues. If they have colon cancer, anything that's going on in that area, it also populates the whole gut. So this has a blend of microbes. It's not just one. So you've got the bifidolongnum. This one also has planetarium in it and a couple other really, really good ones. And it's tasty. It's really nice, right? Isn't that yummy? Yeah. It's so good. And it's the fastest of all of them. So this one only has to culture for 10 hours at 110 degrees. So this is a nice fill-in. Like if you're making reuteri, it takes 36 hours. You could start your reuteri and then have this to like pop it in real quick if you run out or something, kind of rotate them, you know, just having more options. And this way you don't have to buy sour cream anymore. So my fridge is just loaded with cartons of dairy. I don't buy pre-made stuff anymore. I don't buy cream cheese anymore. I don't buy yogurt anymore. I don't buy sour cream anymore. All of my dairy products, I just buy the dairy stuff to make it, if that makes sense. This one is amazing for the allergies, wherever that is. The allergies are the biggest one on this. So if you know someone who has dairy intolerance or other food intolerances, that could be lacking the bifidobacteria. If you add that back in, it could really help to balance them out. The things I want you to take away from this presentation, what I want you to take home with you, right? Cultured veggies have amazing nutrient profile. Keep that in mind. Anytime someone has a gut issue of any kind, I'm talking gastritis, I'm talking pancreatitis, gallbladder issues, diarrhea, vomiting, food poisoning, norovirus, I don't care what it is. If they're puking or things are coming out the back end, give them cultured veggie juice, right? It works really, really fast. That's a powerful tool. Kombucha. Now, liver detox, right? Liver detox. You want kombucha to detox your liver. If you know someone who's coming off of alcohol addiction, they can replace that alcohol with the kombucha, and that will definitely help them get past that. Kefir soda, I love that for all of the same gastro issues. Beneficial yeast and bacteria, helps to break down lactose. And so this is a really nice light option. So just keep that in mind. It has all the same stuff as the cultured veggies and the kombucha, but it's a lot milder. So that one's great for kids. If you need to get microbes into your children, definitely recommend that. And then Natto, that's going to be our spike protein detox. That's our blood thinner. That's got all of those amazing amylase, protease to help break down and digest your food. Definitely keep that in mind for cancer sort of treatments. And then the dairy side, we're looking at the kefir, right? Remember our homemade kefir? That's going to be your microbiome filler. That's going to give you maximum diversity. You're going to have so many extra microbes in there that there's going to be no room for bad stuff to grow, right? Fill it up. Reuteri, that's our happy yogurt. Remember, we're going to get our oxytocin from reuteri. And testosterone, sex drive increase. You know, all the good stuff, right? Yeah, the stuff we're here for, the sex drive. All right, and then the L-gasseri for our lady bits, right? L-gasseri, BV, yeast infection, that's the one we want for that. And then our bifidolongum, our youth microbe. That's going to help us with allergies and all of the gut stuff. All of them are good for the gut. I don't know why my pictures aren't working. We're going to come back to Misha, but you can't see the picture. I'll show you the picture after if you want. Misha has been with me for 6 months, and she is now off of 6 meds. She gets up every single day. She plays and runs with her grandkids. She's gained 19 pounds of healthy weight. She's got her life back. Her skin isn't cracking every time she bumps into anything. She's back in the bedroom with her husband, ready to party. So she's doing the reuteri, the L-gasseri, the milk kefir, the kefir soda, and the cultured veggies on a daily basis. That and a whole foods diet, no seed oils, no glyphosate. Those are the 2 big ones, okay? And then she didn't just heal herself, she also helped to heal her husband, which you can't see both my pictures. I don't know why the pictures aren't working. I'll show you guys the picture. He had horrible eczema all over his body, his entire body. This you can't see now. This is his after picture. So it was everywhere. He was taking ibuprofen every single day for the pain of the eczema. She's like, hell, help me make this topical cream. I was going to help her make a cream. And I told her, you know, you probably should try to heal it from the inside. And she was like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, you're already kind of doing it, so there must be something else that's setting him off, right? So we thought about it for a little bit, and it turns out he was taking that ibuprofen every day. We cut that out, and as soon as we cut out the seed oils with that, he was eating seed oils. This was 3 weeks. His skin went from completely blown up to healed. I'll show you guys the picture on the screen once I close out of this if you want to see his before and after. But that is an amazing transformation. You'll have to see. Seed oils are huge. They're terrible. They're terrible, terrible. So, yeah, that's it. You guys learned about 8 powerful foods. How do you feel? Good? Yay! I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Now we can do questions. Yes?
Okay, I have a couple of questions about serving size.
Yes.
First,
yep.
Like for the sauerkraut and even the different yogurts.
The yogurts, yes. So for the sauerkraut, the serving size is just a tablespoon, but you can eat as much as you want. Yeah. They generally recommend it just as like a condiment to eat with meals. Just put a little bit on your plate. I like to just keep a jar of sauerkraut on the table at dinner time. You just get it out, set it on the table. As far as the yogurts, they recommend about a half a cup each yogurt each day. Okay. So if you can alternate, like if you're not going to eat all of them, you know, I would do reuteri one day, I do L-gasseri a different day, I do yogurt plus, so I kind of rotate them. I do milk kefir every single day. If you're having histamine issues, if you have histamine issues, I recommend starting off microdosing microbes in the morning. So taking just a small amount of any of these would be great, but especially the L-gasseri, if you have the histamine issues, taking a small amount of that in the morning so that the histamine will be worn off by bedtime can help to build up your microbiome and actually get rid of the microbes that are letting out too much histamine. Yeah. Yeah, in back. Oh, she's all in back, yeah.
To make these homemade.
Yes.
How do you feel feel about store-bought kombucha and any favorite brand?
Store-bought kombucha is weak sauce. It's not anywhere near the same level of microbial profile. What they do when they make kombucha, they ferment it for like a week. I ferment mine for a month. So it's very different. You're going to get a lot more Saccharomyces in a store-bought kombucha because it's fermented for such a short period of time. If it has any flavor added to it, you have to remember that it's going to be half kombucha, half whatever else it is. So you're having severely diluted. It's not nearly the same content. GT's kombucha is probably the best. I know for sure theirs isn't pasteurized. You can grow a SCOBY from that kombucha. So we know it's live and it has all of that stuff in it. Yeah.
And then any on cultured dairy from store-bought, like store-bought milk kefir?
Store-bought milk kefir is terrible. It's not even close to the real thing. Yeah. Not even the difference between a store-bought kefir and a homemade kefir is about 50 microbes and 16 hours because they only use a culture and they only ferment it for about 4 hours. So it is not even close to the same. Yes.
So simple, huh?
It's super, super easy. Yeah.
So I had at one point been buying store-bought kombucha and then leaving it out for longer.
Yeah.
Is that like
Totally. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. You could buy kombucha if it's unflavored and leave it out on the counter for a little bit longer, definitely. Yep, that's a great way to do it. Yes.
So to get the knowledge a little bit more
Yes.
today, you have a site.
I am all over Instagram. I share a lot on Instagram. I also have a book coming out. Your handout is there. You've got that. And then you guys can get my info is on here. You're all welcome to reach out to me directly if you need any help.
Get this video where?
I'm going to share this on Instagram. I will also, I can email it to you probably. Yeah. Give me your email. Oh, I'll get out of the way. I'll leave this up. You guys can get my stuff later. Yes.
how do you compare miso to Natto? Like miso master stuff?
It's a different microbe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So Natto is Bacillus subtilis. It's just a whole other thing. It's different completely. I actually haven't researched miso at all. That's not one I've really looked into. Yes.
I was going to ask you if you could recommend a book, but I saw that there were
Yes, right.
on the previous slide. And then you mentioned bacteria competition. Is that what we've all got going on right
Yeah.
now, having sampled all of this stuff?
Not yes and no. Not in your body. No, not in your body. So you want as much diversity as possible in your body.
Okay.
What we're avoiding competition in is in our culture. We want our culture to be pure and potent. So you can take one spoonful of it, and that is like an entire jar of store-bought
Okay.
probiotics.
You immediately take a spoonful
Yeah,
of another.
all of them.
Okay.
Yep. I did something when I first started, I called it magic milk, right? Where I would take the reuteri and the gasseri and the yogurt plus and the milk kefir, and I just blend it all together. We would just drink it. It's just when you're culturing, when you're trying to avoid microbial competition for those specific microbes. Yes.
How long can you keep your SCOBY in the refrigerator in kefir, in kombucha?
They don't love the refrigerator, but you could keep them in there almost indefinitely, but they don't love it.
You can reuse.
Probably. Yeah. Most likely, if you put... Oh, yeah. I leave it on the counter all the time.
For weeks?
Oh, for years. Yeah. As long as you give it fresh tea. We're talking about kombucha for the people online. She asked if you can leave your kombucha SCOBY in the fridge. You can leave it in the fridge. It'll keep for a long time, but it doesn't love it. It's not its favorite.
And how
Yeah.
does the hotel work? On the counter, or you just...
I just add fresh tea to it every time I flip my kombucha. Yep. So I'll put a little bit more of my tea from the previous batch into the SCOBY hotel, and it keeps them happy. Yeah. Yes.
So you can do 3 cultures.
Oh, yeah.
Yogurt, gasseri, and then can you mix them and
Yes.
drink?
You can mix them and eat them. Just don't mix them while you're culturing them.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. hmm
So my kefir is too strong because I'm using raw dairy?
Oh, no. I use raw dairy for mine. It's not.
I can't imagine reading what I like quart of it. It'll take off my tongue.
I'll teach you how to make it. Okay, I'll show you how to do it. So what I do with my milk kefir, she says it's very sour, and it can be very sour. What you do is you have to make sure that you have 1 tablespoon of grains per each cup of milk you use. That's the ratio, 1 tablespoon of grains to 1 cup. And after you've fermented it for 24 hours, you can strain that out and second ferment it. This is how I make my kefir mild and delicious like that. So you take that culture and put it in a bigger jar. So I use a 2-cup culture for mine. That's all I run is 2 cups of kefir grains on a normal basis. And I will strain that out into 2 jars. So I have 1 cup of kefir in each jar in a 4-cup jar, and I fill it the rest of the way up with milk and set it on the counter for 24 further hours. And that turns it into a really creamy, nice, mild kefir. That kefir's been fed up even further by giving it more milk, so that increases your microbial profile in it as well. So not only does it make it stronger, it makes it more palatable. Yes.
When I've done yogurts and kefirs in the past, they're not immortal.
No.
Do you just have to keep buying
Yeah.
water every so often?
I haven't had to yet, and I've been making them for 6 months.
Okay.
So if you have a strong culture, I think you're probably fine. What I like to do is after I make my culture for the first time, I will take a couple tablespoons of it out and stick it in the freezer. So then you know you have really fresh culture for when you have to start it back up. Yeah.
Can I
Yep.
just say, for those of you who are on social media, on our Facebook page right now, we have a kefir grain chain. So everyone who has kefir grains to share is on that chain. You just look that up. And I say we start all kinds of chains.
We definitely can. We can start chains for sure.
Grain chain.
For sure. We'll do a culture chain. Culture chain.
One thing I did want to mention, this is great for basics, but we do need to be concerned, especially in the future. They are starting to vaccinate livestock with mRNA vaccine. So unfortunately, and I wanted to clarify with you that we do need the pasteurized, ultra highly processed milk for the competition. However, we want to make sure we're getting
Good quality.
Doesn't have that.
Yeah.
in it. So we'll do some further exploration.
Yeah, for sure.
Keep the conversation going as to which milks.
It's the best option. Yeah. I mean, if you get your milk from the farm and you pasteurize it yourself, you can absolutely use your home milk. And I'm assuming organic cows are not going to be vaccinated, but who knows?
We don't
It's hard
know.
to say. It's hard to
And,
say.
It's
Yeah.
tough. You figure it's a waste
Right.
to pasteurize raw milk.
It does seem like a waste. Yep, that's kind of the catch-22 with this whole thing is like, I use raw milk specifically for my kefir grains. I feed those to my kefir grains. The cool thing about fermentation that I'm learning that is pretty amazing is that when you ferment foods, it actually eats the bad stuff out of it. So it will eat the microplastics, it will eat the pesticides, it will eat the herbicides, it will eat the glyphosate, it eats all of the bad things out of the food. So I'm hoping that the microbes might eat the mRNA vaccines out of the milk. We need a microbiologist to test that theory for us. Any other questions? Yes.
So I've heard that the cultures of kefir, like let's say compared to sour cream, because it's the high protein, actually can increase constipation.
Yeah.
So what do you suggest in that case?
I haven't had any people get an increase in constipation at all with kefir. At all. Now, it's the sour cream, I highly doubt it. Now, when you're looking at store-bought sour cream, that's not a cultured sour cream in most cases. That's just them putting stuff in to sour it. It's not cultured, no. You can make sour cream at home by putting lemon juice in water. Or in the milk, it'll curdle. Yeah, it'll turn into it. It's weird. No, so I suspect that anything that's cultured, that's fermented, is not going to cause an increase in constipation. When you're talking fresh milk, drinking fresh milk, I could see it because your body doesn't have the ability to digest it, but the microbes digest it for you. Does that make sense? Yeah.
And you're saying homemade kefir, which I make.
Yes.
Homemade kefir.
Yeah.
Is far surpasses anything store bought,
Yes.
right? So if I
Yeah.
am doing the homemade,
Yes.
how do you know if your kefir is just not? I mean, it feels like it's growing. I got the best kefir in the world from my mother-in-law
Yeah.
years ago. How do you know when it stops working?
It would stop getting thick. Yeah, if as long as it thickens that milk, it's working. You're good. Yeah.
It multiplies too, right?
Yeah, and the grains will multiply. Yeah, that's how you know it's working. Yes.
I think I've had mine separate.
Yeah, that'll happen. That just means it's over fermented a little bit. Yep, it'll separate into curds and whey if you over ferment it. You just stir it back in. It's great. Yes.
What's the average temperature that you need to set these cultures at?
So reuteri and gasseri, you culture those at 100 degrees for 36 hours. So you're going to want a yogurt maker or an Instant Pot or a sous vide that can hold 100 degrees for 36 hours to make those.
How good are those for culturing dairy?
I haven't tested that specific model. You would have to test the temperature on the yogurt setting. Yeah, so you would have to put water in there, put a thermometer in there, see what it is after it's been running for a bit. If it's at 100 degrees or close to it, you should be good. As far as the Yogurt Plus, that one's 110 degrees for 8 to 10 hours. That's in your handout. Everybody's got a handout with all the recipes. None of you have an excuse to not make any of these things, right? Oh, I have them in the back. Yeah.
I had another question. When I make my sauerkraut, I've been using red cabbage.
Yummy.
And half of it comes out fine and half of it gets moldy. And
Oh.
It's the same thing, it's just washed into 2 different jars.
Are you...
It's actually mold.
It's mold. So you're not getting enough salt. You're not dropping the pH of your... you're not using enough salt. In the packet, there's instructions. We want to use a weight when we're making it. We want to weigh it. So then we're getting the exact right percentage of salt in our brine to guarantee that we're not going to get any mold. Okay? So it's 3%. Yeah, don't stick your hand in there. Definitely. Go ahead. Yeah. Done it. Yes.
I'm just looking at your recipes here.
Yes.
For your yogurts, and it calls for inulin or Prebio Plus.
Yes.
Is that something you have here, or?
So this is the inulin I buy. This I just get on Amazon. It is made from chicory root. You can get any inulin, would be fine. It's just a prebiotic. This is what helps your culture be able to ferment for that full 36 hours. It eats all of the lactose out of it. It will not make it to 36 hours if you don't give it this, okay? It will over ferment. This enables you to get those huge CFUs that we want. CFUs are colony forming units. If anyone didn't know what that is, that's how they measure microbes in foods. Yeah.
So you're eating food or putting it
It's going to go in with the yogurt and you stir it up. This goes with the reuteri and the gasseri. You need this for the culturing. Yes.
Or Prebio Plus.
Prebio Plus is just another brand name one that you can get. They sell it on Amazon. They probably have inulin here. I've never actually looked for it here. Beth.
They have different sizes, quantities from Azure Standard of inulin, organic inulin.
Azure Standard has it. There you go. So she says Azure Standard has inulin. You can get it in different sizes and it's organic.
Right.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
My son
Mm-hmm.
does not like the taste of any of these.
Okay.
He's good with store-bought kefir, probably because it doesn't taste like anything.
Right.
So is that where you would start him on the kefir soda?
Definitely the kefir soda. And I would make smoothies.
Yeah.
Yep. If you can't stand the taste, put it in a smoothie. Yes.
Let's see. Okay. William Davis's book called Supergut is really wonderful. It's on her slide.
Yes, Supergut.
And he recommends using ultra pasteurized organic half and half, and you can get it in larger quantities from Costco.
Yes, that's where I buy it at
And I
Costco.
do it in half-gallon jars at a time. Some of his cultures, some of the blends from.
I'll give you the
Bionic.
slides. You don't need to
Anyway,
take pictures.
I
Yeah.
just wanted to mention.
Yes,
that
that's where I buy
a
it.
Value if you want to make larger quantities.
Yes.
And do it in half-gallon size in a big canning pot that you can get at a thrift store.
With a sous vide.
And the sous vide.
Yep. You can make a ton. My bus tub, it's like, what they use at the restaurant. And we cut a whole lot of it. And it's amazing. I can make 15 quarts at a time. It works great. Yeah. Anything else?
Thank you.
I think we got them. Thanks, guys.
So now your guts are all primed for lunch.
That's right.
And we have ferments for lunch. What? How do you want to have people eat? And then
Yeah.
give out samples or-
And
Yeah.
before we go to lunch, can I just say a little something? I have a girlfriend
my pictures aren't working.
from Colorado to Kansas, and she and her husband started a farm.
Cool.
They raise chicken and pork or pigs, and I've been buying her chicken and
Did you listen?
I usually use it for, it's amazing.
Yum.
Amazingly strong.
Okay, I'm gonna talk to my people.
Bones. She raises them using the.
Yeah, guys, I will message me if you need handouts. I'm gonna hop off of here and message me questions.
But they're natural. They're definitely pasture raised. They're loved and taken care of, and the bones grown like chickens. These animals are amazing for the bone stock. So if anybody is interested, I know sometimes I have a hard time finding chicken.
Thank you, guys. I'm gonna hop off and chat with my friends, and I will talk to you guys soon. Okay.
If anybody's interested.
Bye, guys.
And she said, go to her.